Hey everyone, and welcome to this Palworld video where we'll be going into detail on breeding. So, firstly, we'll start with the basics. So, in order to start your breeding, you need to obviously unlock the technology for it. So, it is unlocked on level 19, the breeding farm, and you will also need to be able to make a cake. So the cake ingredients you can check up. You're going to need things like bees for honey, milk and eggs and berries and flour. So to get into what you need to get your pals in there, you need a male and a female. They'll take some time in there together and produce you an egg depending on what you are breeding. So those are the basics. Then obviously there's going to be the passive traits, right? Because everyone wants good passive traits on their pals. For example, on the Kitsune here, I put Serenity, Lucky, Musclehead, and Ferocious. So something worth noting on the passive skills, and this is partially a spoiler if you don't want to look through my pal box. Um, there is a passive trait that you get on legendary pals like Frostallion that is, in my opinion, the best passive trait in the whole game. So before you do too much effort on making a perfect pal, this is the first thing that you should consider is getting the legend passive on pretty much everything is going to be very crucial in my opinion. Then there's also these other traits that are element specific. This one is called Ice Emperor for ice. There is stuff like Lord of the Sea that you get on Jormuntide. Those are for water, and there are multiple others. So the way that it works is every parent, like for example, let's look at our Rabunnies. Every parent has a chance to have their trait carry over. So what I'm trying to make here is a Rabunny that has Legend, Ferocious, Musclehead, and Lucky on it. And the less other traits you have that have a chance to carry over, the better. So for passive skills, I found the best way to do it is have a parent with two of the four passives you're going for, and a different parent with the other two. The most important thing I feel like in breeding in totality is the ability classes. Now, I didn't know the ability classes were as important as they were until it was pretty much too late and already committed to making my perfect pals. But the ability classes, I've made a pair here, is they're gonna give you the ability to see IVs. So let's look at our Kitsune again. All the stuff we want, but look, he is actually terrible in IVs. So you can see IVs on every pal once you have these equipped. For example, those innovators that fell down there, I can see their IVs to see if they're worth catching or not. This is the raid boss that we're gonna have to fight in order to get the ancient civilization cores. She's gonna be level 30 when you fight her. You get the tablets, fragments to fight her in dungeons ranging from, I believe it's level 19 or 17, I think it's 19, to 42. And you can also get some of her fragments on bosses like this one that is in mineshafts. I think the first mineshaft boss might be Elizabeth you encounter. Basically, it's the ones you have to go under the mountain to get them being raided. So let me just deal with this and I'll continue. What you will need to make is a raiding base. Kind of like this one, I just made a random base out in the middle of nowhere without any other structures that you don't want to get destroyed. And then you put your best pals in your base as fighters. So I have a bunch of level 55s. You'll probably have a little bit lower level. So I'll say focus getting dragon types like Jormuntide is a good one. And some of the Quiverns is good because she's going to be dark type and dark a dragon obviously counters the dark type of her. And then every time you fight her, you're going to get one of the Ancient Civilization core fragments. You can see I'm trying to breed 100% IV Cryolinxes over here. I do already have one that has all the skills on I'm looking for. So I went for, sorry, let me just get away from this Tormentide Ignis. Ice Emperor, Musclehead, Ferocious, and Legend. That's what I'm going for on mine. So I already got my perfect one with 100 IVs. The reason I'm continuing breeding is I'm gonna try and get an Alpha Pal. Now we will try and cover Alpha Pals some on at the end of the video. Let's look at why these IVs are so important to be taken into consideration. We have a Blazeal knocked here, level 55. We're going to focus on its attack stat. See, it has no passive skills. And then it has, on the right side of the screen, you can see the numbers there. It has 100 on the attack stat. It's just below the 99 of the health. And then next to it, we have a 13 attack, also level 55 Blazeal knock. You see this one has 592 attack, and this one has 16. That's without any difference other than just the attack stat. So you can see how massive it is to have good IV pals. And then these base stats get scaled by stuff like um, putting souls into them because it is a percentage increase every time. I think it's 15. It also gets scaled by putting the condenser pals into them, and then the passive skills as well. So everything is a multiplier on your base attack stat that you have on your pal. So the higher you get this, the better your pal's potential is going to be because it gets multiplied up. I'm going to link it in the description, but there's multiple good things that you can do here. For example, you could use this instead of the classes to manually IV check every pal you have by like filling in all these values, like health, attack, defense, passive skills, how much you have put souls in it and all that. But I would not recommend it because it's a pain and you have to do it for every single pal until you find one that's correct, IVs. So anyway, that's an option, but would not recommend. So let's say we're trying to fix our beacon up. Going for Jormuntide is a decent idea. So if we can get 100% IV on Jormuntide, he will most likely be able to fix some of our other pals as well. For example, if we were using a Banking or something, or maybe an Anubis, you can again use the 100% IV that we are going to try and get on our Jormuntide to fix our Anubis pal. So what I want to show you is how to start getting good breeding pals. Go to a boss somewhere in the world. By the way, don't look at how bad my IV of my beacon is. It wasn't good. I didn't know about IVs before I made my perfect beacon in my opinion. Just have a look at it. All the stats I want on my mount, plus I bred until I got an alpha and he is just terrible with IVs. You can see there's like this hazy mistness on around our character. As soon as you get the Jormuntide boss in that mist, he will despawn. We can get closer and his IVs will be reset to a different time. So again, put them in the mist there, and then he disappears. Go back, and you'll see he will have respawned with new IVs. So you can do this a bunch of times till you get one that you are happy with. Personally, I'm going for 100% IVs on all the stats for my pals. But if like let's say 99 is good enough for you, you can settle with that. It won't really make a difference if it's one off, but it's just when they're very bad, like my beacon's health, for example, that's going to be a big problem. The range that bosses can roll and the reason that they're good ideas to go for is between 50 and 100, whereas base spells like that serpent that's attacking me can go from 0 to 100. So it's a higher variance, which means you're going to take a longer time to get a 100% IV serpent than it is going to be to get 100% IV Jormuntide. This should take on average about, I think I calculated to about 13 tries to get a boss to spawn with one of the IV stats perfect. Now, this starts to get to be 1 in 50 chance to get a specific one. Let's say you wanted a Jormuntide with 100% IV on the health. That's about 50 resets to get it. So that might not be the most optimal way to do it, and maybe you already have a different bell that can go with Jormuntide that has the health stat. Okay, let's go over an IV example. So let's say we have Frostallion because we want to have the legend passive, and we have Bushi, and we're trying to make a Ragnarok. Which is an example we're going to use, so you can check our Frostallion we have. has 100% IV on health and on defense. Our Bushi we are using has 100% on attack. So if you breed these two together, the way it works is it has a chance to give you either one of the parents' IVs, so it will give you 100% from the Frostallion, 69 from Bushi, or it will give you a random value between 0 and 100. Either of those three options, of 33% chance. If you have, for example, a Bushi with 100% attack and defense, then you have a higher chance, about 60% chance to have a higher 100% defense IV transfer. So it's kind of similar to breeding passive skills, where passive skills can also give you the parents one. So for example, Legend, it can give you Sadist or a random one or none. So it can take some time to get the IVs to mash up well. But I'll leave you off with this wonderful prospect here. I have my first potential alpha on my perfect IV Cryolinxes that we're trying to breed with my perfect, my opinion, passives. So we're gonna go ahead and hatch this bad boy. It's gonna take some time. I'll add in the comments what it ended up being. It's probably not gonna work out. But on that, the last thing I just wanted to mention is what the alphas do. There may be something out there that tells you exactly how much it increases their HP, but basically they've made it so you can have a chance to breed an alpha pal, and it only increases their HP. So that's the only thing it does. Only the HP stat is affected. So it's another little multiplier on your perfect pal to make its health slightly higher. And that's about it. There's no real tricks that I figured out how to make alpha pals easier. I've tried breeding with alphas and with normals, and it's just RNG. It takes some time. I don't have exact numbers on how long it takes to make them. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please consider to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.